that we could challenge the special interests that have come to dominate Washington, that we could reduce the toxic and venomous spirit of our politics, and there was no problem we couldn't solve, no destiny we could not fulfill. That was the bet that I was making 1 year ago when I decided to run. And I am here to report, after crisscrossing this country for 12 months, after flying countless miles and eating thousands of chicken dinners and shaking hands every which way, I am here to report that my bet has paid off, and that my faith in the American people has been fulfilled, because everywhere I go, people say they are ready for change. They want to turn the page. They want to write a new chapter in American history. That's why you're here today. Everywhere we go, we've been seeing these enormous crowds. And it's not just the crowds. People are paying attention. They've been watching the debates, and they've been reading the position papers on candidates, and they've been asking tough questions at town hall meetings. Now, I would like to take all the credit for all this energy and enthusiasm and interest in politics, but I can't take all the credit. I know that a lot of it has to do with the fact that no matter what else happens, you're going to be going in the polling place in November to select the next president of the United States. And you know that the name George W. Bush will not be on the ballot, and that has you excited.
But you know what's scary is how this is
excited about that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The name of my cousin, Dick Cheney, won't be on the ballot. Some of you read about this. It turns out we have some distant ancestor in common. You know, when they do these genealogical surveys, you're hoping that you're related to somebody cool. So, you know, Dick Cheney, that's a letdown. But his name will not be on the ballot. His name won't be on the ballot. So the era of Scooter Libby justice and Brownie incompetence and Karl Rove politics will finally be over next year. But that's not the only reason that you're here. You know, it's easy to be against something. You're here because you want to be for something. You want to feel as if it's possible for us to join together and do big things and solve problems that have been lingering year after year, decade after decade. We've been talking about health care for decades now, and yet nothing happens. We've been talking about energy for decades, and yet we still are dependent on foreign oil. And so people want us to get things done. That's what they're looking for. And I know this because I've been in a conversation with the American people, and too often the stories I hear, just like Carrie's, are stories of struggle and stories of hardship. Everywhere I go across this country, I meet people who've been laid off after working 20 years in a plant because the job got shipped off overseas. Folks lose not just their job, but they lose their health care, they lose their pensions, and they're trying to figure out how can they make ends meet on $7 an hour working at the local fast food joint. All across this country, I meet individuals who don't have health care. All across this country, I meet seniors who are still trying to figure out how to get prescription medicine, having to take half a dose, even though the doctor tells them they can't do it because that's all they can afford. All across this country, I meet teachers who are working second jobs because they're not paid enough on the first. Or I meet teachers who are having to dig into their own pockets to buy school supplies for their classroom because the schools are underfunded. All across America, I meet young people who are able and willing and have the grades to go to college, but just don't have the money. And if they borrow, they're getting themselves into $20, $30, $40, $50,000 worth of debt. They've got a mortgage before they even buy a house. And so there are a lot of young people who decide not even to go because they don't want to take on those debt loads. All across this country, I meet veterans who have served in Iraq and Afghanistan and are proud of their service, and rightfully so, because our troops have done everything that's been asked of them. They have performed magnificently. But they question the wisdom of a mission that has cost us so dearly in blood and treasure, and they think about those that have been left behind. And sometimes I meet veterans from Vietnam who are disabled, are homeless, who wonder how it is that the country could have forgotten their service. And sometimes in rope lines after a rally like this, I'll have to hug a mother who weeps silently over the memory of a fallen son or a fallen daughter. And all across this country, I meet people who are proud of their country, love America, but they don't understand how our standing in the world has declined so rapidly. And they are not proud of Abu Ghraib, and they're not proud of Guantanamo. They're ashamed of what's happened to our civil liberties. They don't understand how we could be talking about torture. They want our cherished values and ideals restored. And so the American people understand we have to bring about fundamental change. Not just change as a slogan, but change we can believe in. And what I tell people is that I am running with the confidence that we can chart a new course. I know I am ready to lead this country in a different direction. But what I also tell people, and I will tell you today, is I can't do it by myself. You know, change does not happen just because you elect a new president. If the American people have not given that president a mandate, if the American people are not engaged and holding Congress accountable and serious about making change happen, then it won't happen. And so, the question today is, are you ready? Because if you are ready for change, then we can go ahead and tell the lobbyists that their days of setting the agenda in Washington are over.